wanted to, for the good of the group, we're currently in the final process of the historic courthouse. We're having a little bit of challenges with the final elevator inspection. We did a lot of historic lighting, which is not as bright apparently at the entrance to elevators than what the current code is. So we're having a little bit, and apparently our moving company doesn't want to move furniture in up 3 floors without an elevator. I don't know why.
Funny like that.
But we're currently planning to have it open January 4th for business.
Well, that's very nice.
Starting the new year. So.
When do you start the move?
Tentatively, like the 20. What we're hoping is the last session, commissioner session will be in here on the 21st, and then we'll start moving, and then the next commissioner session isn't scheduled for the 11th of January. So we gave ourselves a pretty good window there to get the technology up and running and things over there. So it'll be over the holidays is what our current plan is. So anyway, just wanted to update everybody on that. So.
All right, good. I had the opportunity to take a tour with Mike last month. Rob and I did, and I think that's the second or third tour during the process, but really an impressive project.
I'm looking forward to going over there with you after this is over.
Item 5 is a staff report. Rob, would you take us through the report that you've prepared?
I sure will. Thank you. The first item, the 713637, I'll defer that and we'll discuss that more. Item 7, so I'm going to skip to item 2, which is the budget. The handout I gave you is a draft budget. Still have some work to do with SI, but based on the current cash balance, we will carry over basically that entire $5.9 million balance to next year. So that would be our beginning balance. And so basically I'll start at the top here. So local revenues, we're of course expecting another $400,000 county commissioner pledge next year. And then the only project we currently have tentatively scheduled for TID construction next year is the Holman Sawmill Parkway intersection. We'll be adding additional lanes through that intersection on Home Road, and then an additional left turn lane on Sawmill Parkway, and then adding a path along the north side of Home Road over to the east side of the railroad bridge, going up over the railroad bridge. That's about a $2.7 million project. We don't yet have the final estimate. So what I've put in there is $2.75 million, which I think will cover the cost of it. I should probably back up 1 second. This, I certainly want to take any comments you may have today, and then my expectation is in January we would approve the final budget. I don't think we'll be paying any bills for the first 11 or 12 days of January, unless SI tells me different, so.
Unless you guys send me invoices.
Yeah, if we don't send them to you, you don't pay them, right?
Yeah, I won't send it to you. Yeah, right.
Okay,
Exactly.
deal.
Aren't we shut down here? Supposed to be shut down when we're allowed to save on costs, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's the only project, new project, I should say. We of course have the North Road extension that is currently underway. Construction has not yet begun on that, but I'll touch on that in a moment. And then state revenues, we will be receiving next year the $200,000 grant for Home Road reimbursement, and then I expect we'll invoice for the $250,000 grant for North Road. So those will come in. Administrative fees, we anticipate collecting $39,773 for the North Road extension project, which is the 2% plus $5,000 of the contract costs. So you can see total estimated revenue is about $639,000 for next year. Expenses, I've put in just $1,000 for postage and miscellaneous general supplies. in the event we have to do mailings. Attorney's fees, I stuck in $15,000 in the event we need to have counsel. Financial services, I wanted to get a number from Si.
10 grand.
10,000, okay. So we'll put 10,000 in there for financial. And then the preliminary engineering for I-71, 3637, of course, we'll discuss that in a moment. Everything else, these are costs that we already have. The North Road extension, that $1.7 million is the actual contract amount, and then the $2.5 million is my estimate for what we'll actually spend on that home road and Sawmill Parkway. So that's about it. I can answer any questions or entertain any comments you may have, suggestions, anything you have.
So even though you're showing red numbers for December 31st, that doesn't count the carryover.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we'll carry over 5.9 million. So if everything goes as planned, we'll carry over about 2 million and change at the end of 2021.
Rob, do you anticipate North Road Phase 2, that will bid next year or be the following year?
Phase 2 will not bid next year. I would expect that's probably late in 2022, going into 23. Yep.
You got the same email I did about that, right? Yeah.
That's all I have for the budget. Again, if you see anything over the next month, please let me know or think of anything. Of course, do supplemental appropriations if necessary throughout the year, but it's always nice if we can get it done once.
So our goal is to have a budget approval item on our agenda for our January meeting then, okay?
Okay, so next item, I'll move on to the project updates. The home road extension, hopefully you've had a chance to drive the new road. It really turned out fantastic, I think. Looks nice. Came in way under budget, $8.5 million versus the $10.8 million contract amount. So very pleased to see that. We would, or I'll bring you a certification of completion in January for that, so we can return any balance, if any, and that's part of the discussion with the interchange. We'll talk about in a moment. Next project, Heights Road in 23. That construction is ongoing. Hit a few snags with the sanitary sewer getting under Heights Road, but they're still plugging away on it. We have deferred some of the road construction until next spring. So we've gotten basically the culvert construction completely done. The only thing left to do is the actual road base widening and overlay, which we'd rather wait until the spring after we have solid soils to work on rather than trying to build pavement on mud right now. So expect to have that wrapped up probably in May of next year. We'll actually reopen the road later this month, and then it'll be open through the winter. And then
On temporary pavement, right?
Basically on the existing pavement. And then we'll close it again this spring for hopefully 30 days, no more than 30 days, but we'll see what time they need. So. The good news is we should still have the sewer delivered on schedule. I know that's a critical item for the development in that area, particularly the elementary school going in to the east, and then the agreement the county has with Metro Development. So as far as I know, that is still on track for January completion, but if there's any updates, I can certainly pass those along to you. Graphics Way extension between Menards and Morris Point, that was done back in September, so that turned out really nice as well. Past the Life Point Church, and so we have a resolution. Our only resolution today is just certifying completion of that and allowing Mr. Keeley to cut a check back to the county for the remaining balance, which ended up being about $100,000. That project came in under budget. And then North Road Extension Phase 1, again, that project has not started yet. Basically, Southco decided just to wait until the spring. It's really only about 3 months worth. So 3 to 4 months. They'll start, I think, as soon as the weather breaks in the spring, probably April or May. And then I wouldn't anticipate any problem having that done by August 1st as we originally planned on. As far as projects, that is all I have for you, and I think the only thing is our next meeting is January 13th, and we'll hopefully approve the budget at that point. And, that's all I have. I'll return it to the chairman.
Thanks, Rob. Anybody have any questions for Rob about any of that? All right. Item 7 involves the interchange modification at 3671 that there's been a lot of discussion about. There was a development proposal, as many of you recall, to build a second interchange to the south. And there were a lot of development commitments made by the developer, funding commitments made by the developer with ODOT to move forward with trying to get the first phase of that completed. And the developer has, I don't know if they've officially walked away from the deal, but they've let ODOT know they can't honor their financial commitments. They've not moved forward with the design and the development proposal as originally made doesn't exist anymore. So our office has been in discussions with ODOT about how we can keep that project moving, how we can at least keep the engineering work moving forward. There is an approved environmental document which has shelf life on it, and if that expires, they have to redo the environmental. And so there's some interest in us moving forward from the county, of us moving forward quickly. That project is key to the success of the Berlin Business Park project, and without additional capacity to interchange, it really undermines the Berlin project. And so there is an interest at the county to see that project, to see the interchange move forward. And so we've had some preliminary discussions with ODOT about a role for the Transportation Improvement District to use the underrun money from our home road project to fund the engineering out at 3671 in order to keep that project on schedule and moving forward, and not lose some of the ground that we gained with the work that's been done to date. So I don't have a official action for you today, or a contract, or even a price tag of what we're even talking about. But one of the reasons the TID can be really valuable in this is that ODOT has a process, a statutory process they go through to select a consulting engineer for any project, and that project is lengthy. Rob, I've said 9 months. I may be underselling it. But it's 9 months to a year for them to select a consultant for a project. And so that clock ticking on the expiration of the environmental document isn't conducive to waiting another year before someone's under contract. Our TID can negotiate a fee with a consultant and move forward as quickly as we can close the negotiation and take action. And we can do that on behalf of ODOT. And so I think they're interested in us doing that. And I think we should consider that. So today, I wanted to put that idea in front of you. I wanted to hear if there are any objections to us at least investigating between now and probably the next 60 days or so, work on a scope and a negotiation. We would start a negotiation with the firm that's already been working out there in the development, which is MS Consultants, which is a firm that's very capable of doing that work. And so that's where we would start.
Is what you're talking about, the TID involved with initially what's shown in blue on this map? Is it, that's the scope of the project? Okay.
We do have an interest in, for the sake of the Berlin Business Park, we have an interest in that connection to the west, back to 36 near the Africa Road intersection. And so we'll be talking to them about the priority of different phases and segments of that. That whole project won't be built at one time.
Right,
It'll be done in bite-sized pieces.
Sure.
And, so, but we'll our role in that also will allow us to talk about where the priority segments are, and we can prioritize which segments. Hopefully, ODOT will agree. We can prioritize which segments are important. The section of that relocated road between 36 and 3Bs and K, the one that swings south, there is a development proposal active right now that will at least set aside the right-of-way for part of that, and there's potential revenue from that development that could be used toward that construction or the interchange construction.
Okay.
Just to add a little bit, you know, Berlin Township right now has been working with our economic development department on an overlay zoning of about 1,000 acres. It pretty much spans from the railroad tracks at Delaware. You get outside of the Meyer development all the way over to the reservoir.
Okay, because that,
And half of it's been, I think, approved. The other half is going to be approved maybe in a couple weeks by the township trustees. That development, like I said, it's 1,000 acres. It goes down to like Berlin Station Road to the south off 40, and goes up to Baker Road up to the north. And you know, we've talked that the biggest issue that developers have, the top commercial developers in central Ohio, is the road access to the interchange. And it's hard to pin down exactly, but we feel like if the roadway is being progressed, that we could have employment centers that go out there, which could really be very exciting new developments for the county and the township.
yeah.
Also, the economic development, and I think in conjunction with the engineer's office, has had discussions with ODOT about leveraging in state legislatures, or our legislatures, about getting more funding put into Delaware County in general. And as you guys know from doing this type of work, that you have to have a shovel-ready site that's already designed to get funding. If you go and say, hey, we want to build this, and they say, well, where's your plans? You don't get very far. So I think this first step, you know, there's a lot of good momentum, you know, to do the funding. I hate to even throw out the Berlin Business Park TIF revenues, because sometimes it seems like monopoly money, but it's like $200 million that's available for infrastructure development. So I think this is a very strategic, you know, project, and I think it's great that, you know, and I know the commissioners are very supportive of, you know, taking the next step of this.
Yeah, this concept's been around a long time, because I can remember it started 10 or 11 years ago with a study ODOT was doing out there on that whole section, trying to get people together on it.
Yeah.
I think the concern that we have, and I'm speaking from the county standpoint, is as developments, as our chairman said, there's a development on that one leg that's in process right now. And as that area develops, you know, without that overall vision in place, it's going to be harder to capture the revenue to pay for it. So.
Okay.
So there's really not a resolution or action items, but if there are concerns about our board taking, our district taking a role in this, we need to hear that before we spend a lot of time and energy on negotiating a scope and a fee.
Well, I think it's a prime example of what we should be doing. I mean, we saw Temagog doing it years ago in the Toledo area. We saw it done in southern Ohio on some projects like this around development and interstate highways and high-end Class 1 state highways. I think it's a perfect project that we should get into.
And you're 100% correct, you know, our TID has done what I would consider a little bit more non-traditional public-private projects, but when you, like you said, when you go down to southern Ohio, southwest Ohio, those TIDs basically build interchanges by getting everybody to collaborate, so this is a little bit more of a traditional.
Yep.
mix.
Yep.
This topic stands on its own merits, but it also has a benefit to us, I think, in terms of us showing ODOT that at the county level, we're willing to be a player and a participant in the larger transportation network that's even not the county's responsibility. You know, this is an interstate, this is an interstate highway and a state route interchange that we don't have responsibility for, statutory responsibility for any of that infrastructure. It's really important to the county, and we're willing to be a team player and have a role in this. And I think that that models well for other projects and the relationship between the county and the state. So, hearing no fervent objection, we'll work toward a negotiation and bring back a more definitive proposal for your consideration. Under item 8, we have a resolution that certifies the completion of our Graphics Way project. Rob explained that to us in his report. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Second.
Motion to approve. Second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And we have another resolution in other business. Si, you want to explain that to us?
Yeah, this resolution will allow us to open up an auto sweep account with the bank, so we can begin earning interest on the money that we have sitting there. So basically, the active checking account will maintain a $750,000 balance. Anything in excess will be swept into this interest earning account.
There is a statutory requirement that we pass a resolution
Yes,
setting up this structure.
correct.
I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business, other business for us to consider today?
Did we want to talk about the resolutions from the last meeting, the last two meetings? I sent an email last night.
Oh, for the minutes, we didn't put that on. Thank you. Thank you. Sarah did send us an email with the minutes from our previous two meetings. And you guys okay with deferring that until?
Oh, of course. I always like putting things off.
No, it's that time of year, right? So our new resolution is to put it off until
That's right.
January. All right. Sarah, thank you for reminding me of that. On the copy I have laying on my desk, I have that note scribbled, so, yeah. But I got Rob's copy, so. All right. Hearing no other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Without objection, I will declare us adjourned, and thank you, gentlemen. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.